Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we would talk about my trying to conceive story. The reason I wanted to have that be one of my videos is it's a really big part of who I am as a woman and as a mother. It's a topic that a lot of women don't want to talk about. And I believe that's because it's a very sensitive and personal topic. It's a difficult thing to navigate through, and because it's untalked about, it's very misunderstood, and a lot of women don't realize that when they go through it, they're actually 1 in 4 of women that have suffered a miscarriage. Me and my husband have been together for 9.5 years, and he knew from the get-go that I wanted to be a mother more than anything in this world. It's pretty much like my purpose for life. I always knew that. I always knew that my purpose was to be a mom. And we got married about 4 years ago, and we shortly after that, but not even a year later, we bought our first home. And the agreement to buy the home was to wait 3 years to have a baby. And I was like, yeah, definitely. Let's wait 3 years and let's get in that house. And 2 years later, we both decided that it was time. My husband was in electrical school at that time, and we live in Massachusetts, and it's a pretty lengthy process to get your electrical license. So he was in school, and one of the main things was he just didn't want to start a family until he had that license, because it was school, he was working a lot, and it's a big process. So 2 years into owning the house and living here, we got a dog, and life was pretty good. So we thought, let's start trying. The following month, I did get pregnant, and I was sick, and I was at my primary care doctor, and I said, I'm a week late. Do you think you could just test to see if I'm pregnant? So I headed on down to the lab. They took my blood. The following day, I got the phone call, and that was a phone call that I will never, ever forget. I was at work, and the doctor just said, the test came back positive, you are pregnant. And I literally said, I'm sorry, did you just say I was pregnant? And I couldn't believe it. I was in utter shock. And I went into hysterics, and I called my husband hysterically crying, and he, I would say, was in hysterics as well. I mean, we just couldn't believe that it was happening, and it didn't take us long, and we were just so grateful. We went to our first ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech wasn't saying anything, and I didn't know any different. I never had one before. My husband was awfully quiet too. Then he could see the screen, and she couldn't say anything as an ultrasound tech. So they need the doctor to confirm everything. And so she said that there wasn't anything there. They could see the gestational sac, but they couldn't see the yolk sac, is what she said. So there was no fetal pull. And she said that could be, I mean, without giving too much detail, she said that could be, you're not as far along as you thought you were. And I think we were around 7 weeks at that time. So you could be a week behind, around 6 weeks, which it's normal at 6 weeks that you wouldn't see the yolk sac. So we were like, okay, all right. We took that information, and we were still very, very hopeful. We really, really thought that we were just a week ahead, and in our minds. And so we made an appointment for another ultrasound that following week. We went back to the same ultrasound tech, and she confirmed that there was nothing there. The gestational sac had not grown at all, so the measurements were still measuring at 6 weeks. At that point, I went into a slope that was going nowhere but down, and I did a ton of research, and a lot of women actually have experienced something like this where they never saw a yolk sac or the embryo fetus till 10 weeks. I'm not sure what the appropriate term is, but till 10 weeks along, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just one of those women. Maybe the baby's there, they just can't see it on an ultrasound. And like I said, the research that I came up with that was common, that happened to many women. So I refused to listen to that doctor. I found another doctor, got a second opinion. And I'm so grateful I did that, because that doctor ended up being my doctor today. She's absolutely amazing. So they did another ultrasound, and they instantly said, yeah, there's nothing, there's no baby. And I hadn't bled at that point. At that point I was around 10 weeks, so ultrasounds every single week since we found out, pretty much, and it was exhausting and so heartbreaking, and they scheduled a D&C. So I went in for that D&C, and we were ready to start trying again after that next period, after the procedure. And we waited a couple weeks after that to start trying. And what I didn't realize was that my cycles were going to be completely different. So what happened every single month was I would be a week late, and I would take a test and be so hopeful and so excited and think, yes, this is not taking long at all, negative. Next month, same thing, a week late, negative. Next month, week late, negative. And this happened for a year. And if anybody has gone through trying to have a baby and seeing those negative tests, a way to describe that pain, just seeing that negative time and time and time again. So that was summertime, and my husband was working in Nantucket on the weekends, and I was home, and thank God I had my dog with me, because he, comforted me as much as he could. But I stayed on the couch all weekend, every single weekend that summer, and I was so isolated. I couldn't talk to people, I couldn't see people. I was just so devastated and so depressed, and I suffer from anxiety and depression. I have my entire life, but this was an all-time low for me. I started smoking again, and honestly, I wanted to self-destruct. I thought that I couldn't understand why God wasn't giving me a baby. When my entire life I felt that that was my purpose for life, and I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't accept it, and I beat myself up every single day for a very long time, and couldn't pick myself up. I could not pick myself up, and I heard it's gonna happen when it happens, it's God's time, not yours, and it just wasn't meant to be, maybe something was wrong, and it's a blessing, and everything, and those are the worst things to hear, and you don't want to hear. And I know that everybody who said those things were coming from a good place. I truly believe that, but you just want to tell him to shut up. So I went to a prayer group at one of my friend's house, and she said something along the lines of, you need to stop thinking that when you have a baby, everything in your life is going to be perfect. And I don't think it's what she said, how she said it, but I think something in my head just clicked. It was just, oh, and I suddenly had acceptance. Nobody could tell you how to have acceptance about it. It's part of the grieving process, really. Nobody can tell you when you're supposed to be done grieving. And for some reason, that night, I just felt like a wave of, okay, I'm done trying. I'm okay with where me and my husband are right now in our life. And that following month, I got pregnant. That the day I took my pregnancy test, I had a coworker come in, and he told me that his wife was pregnant with twins, and they conceived naturally. And I was very nauseous that day. I thought I was getting the flu because my body was aching. I just felt so tired and so drained, and didn't really think I was pregnant, but when I heard him tell us that his wife was pregnant with twins, I hated myself. I just couldn't believe that this couple is just getting blessed with two. And I was like, so when I got home, and I really did not feel good, and I got home and I'm like, you know what, it's been like 8 days since I've had my period, or since I should have had my period. So I'm like, I'm just gonna take a test. And I knew at this point that my cycles were long, and the 10 days, they were like 40-day cycles, and I knew that at that point, but I just didn't feel right. And I'm like, maybe this time. So I took a test, and I left it in the bathroom, and I walked out into the living room, my husband sitting in the chair, and waited a couple minutes, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go in and look. And I go in, I look at it, and I walk out of the bathroom silently, and I said, it's positive, I'm pregnant. And I dropped down on the floor, and I couldn't. It was an amazing feeling to see that word. I took it that said pregnant on it, and husband was like, no, like, he thought I was messing with him. My dog started freaking out, jumping all over us, and yeah, so we went to our ultrasound. They had us come in sooner than normal because of our experience, and I was petrified, so I wouldn't look at the screen. I wouldn't even talk to the ultrasound tech, the poor lady. And I was squeezing my husband's hand on the other side of me so tight that I'm pretty sure I was hurting him. I was so nervous, and I just was staring at the ceiling and shutting my eyes and just praying for this to just be over. Like, I wanted to get out of that room. I was just so scared. And she's like, do you want to see? And I said, no. Like, right away. I'm like, no. And my husband's like, hun, look. And I looked, and I saw the fluttering heartbeat, and we didn't see that before. So it was like so surreal. And my eyes filled up instantly. I couldn't look at my husband. I couldn't see the screen anymore. Like, my eyes were just, I was hysterically crying. Couldn't breathe, hysterics. And it was amazing. So, yeah, we got blessed. And I know it was still really early, but Christmas, I think it was around 9 weeks, and Christmas Eve, we were coming back from his parents' house, and we weren't going to tell anybody until after the first trimester, to be safe, of course. And we left their house, and we were on our way to my parents, and we're like, you know what, let's tell them. So we stopped at Walgreens, and we printed out a picture of the ultrasound from my phone, and they opened up a card on Christmas Eve, and they were so happy. And it was such a beautiful moment. And I had an amazing pregnancy. I loved being pregnant, guys. Like, I so enjoyed it. I loved the way my body looked. I loved the way I felt. I just thought it was just so beautiful. Everything about it was so beautiful. And I was like, well, I'm having such a great pregnancy. I'm probably going to have an awful labor and delivery. Though that wasn't the case either. I honestly enjoyed my labor and delivery. I know a lot of women can't say that. And probably think I'm crazy for saying that. I actually enjoy freaking people out, telling them that I enjoyed it. But I was just so blessed. And looking back, now that I have my beautiful girl, I know that God was trying to teach me patience, and God is always teaching me patience. That is my biggest flaw, and He teaches me patience with every single thing in our life, trust me. Just wish it wasn't this one, because it did destroy me. But I look back and I do think, it did happen for a reason. Whatever that reason is, it bought us some time for my husband to finish getting his electrical license. It put us in a better place financially. And because of that, I'm able to stay home with my daughter, and that was never, ever in the cards. I never in a million years thought that I would be a stay-at-home mom. So yeah, things definitely lined up differently, and no, I'm not grateful that happened, and I will always think of when that due date comes around. I will always wonder how old that baby would be, what that baby would be like, and those thoughts will always be there. And I know that for people who have had miscarriages would understand that feeling, but I'm so grateful that I have my beautiful daughter, and that I was blessed with her, because I can't even imagine my life without her now. And I'm blessed for the struggle, because I can share that struggle with you guys and with other women who I have known to have had a miscarriage over the last 2 years. I've been able to share my experience and help them. And, even just, there's really not a way you can help other than be a listening ear. So that's kind of what I mean. Because you can't tell anybody anything when they're in that grieving process. They have to feel it and go through it in their own way. But I was able to be there and to just let them know I understand exactly what you're saying, how you feel, and helping them helps me as well. And that is, a big part of this community, I think, is just sharing things that we go through, because we want to, we want to know how to get through this stuff too. And at least that's why I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I want to know what my baby's supposed to be doing at this stage, and just how do you make that meal, and how do you clean your house, and what do you do in this situation. And that's why I like watching these videos. So why not share something real and raw like this, where somebody can really benefit from a topic that isn't talked about very often. So yeah, I thank God for bringing me to the place that I am today, and being able to do something like this and try it out. I am having fun doing these videos and sharing my story with you. This is a really cool outlet, I think. And yeah, so I just really want to say that if you are somebody that has suffered a miscarriage and is going through that grieving process, you're not alone. 1 in 4 women suffer miscarriages, and we're all here. We are here to talk and to share our experience, strength, and hope, and get each other through this. So if you do want to talk, please, I'll leave my email down below, and you can shoot me over an email, and I will absolutely get back to you, and we can walk through this together. But if you have any suggestions or anything for anybody, leave that down in the comments, because other people might want to hear your story as well. And let's just continue helping each other out. So yeah, if you would please subscribe to my channel and like this video, that would be awesome. And I really am grateful for you guys to be watching this and being on this journey with me, because I'm such a rookie, guys. I'm literally in my bathroom on the floor because this room has the best lighting in my house. It's so embarrassing, but yet that's real life and rookie YouTubing situation. Obviously, I have no lights or anything fancy right now, but yeah, this is how I'm doing it, and I'm fine with that for now. So hopefully you guys are cool with that. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really had fun doing this, and it brought out some good emotions that needed to be felt. So thank you, and have a great night.